Hey guys, Matt here. Just touching base again with episode 2 of Ear to the Ground. Had a pretty successful week last week with Ear to the Ground. Thanks so much for checking it out and viewing it. Be sure to give this one a like and a share as well. And love the interaction as well. You know, anyone I missed in the last episode, throw them in the comments and I'll address them in the comments as I do. For those who haven't seen this one before, it's a show. It's a little piece or show, I guess, on just what everyone's doing this week, rookie-wise, primo-wise, who are people trading. I mean, I have the video on Sunday where I go through what I'm probably going to do, but, you know, minds change and things change, so we'll just go through the lines, we'll go through the trade-outs, and everyone loves the rookie news and what primo should you be going for. So let's kick into it. The first thing you really want to talk about is, I guess, is for myself anyway, what's on field. So Chapman, I've really got to do something with Chapman this week, and I think a lot of people will. So short of sending Laird back, short of other people might have some DPP through here, everyone's looking to bring in a defender, and I think it's no spoiler that everyone's bringing in Frederick this week, and we'll go into him in a minute. And then where else do you want to do it? I made a song and dance about Tex, Rose, the other option. Flynn's been entirely replaced as the ruckman for GWS. He's ruck 2 now for them, so he only plays every now and then. Mumford is well and truly their number 1 ruck now. So if you've got him on field, he's a concern for you. And they're probably the ones I'm looking at as far as who I'm trading out. You know, if you've still got your Gouldens, Campbell, things like that, then if you've still got Dunkley somehow, then they're the guys you want to look at. But let's take a look. I mean, first of all, we'll run through the rookie list here as far as who everyone's picking. Let me just pull that open. We'll go by break even. So, well, first thing you got to say is that a lot of people are bringing in, if you just hit this trade in, a lot of people are bringing in these early rookies. Riley Collier-Dawkins, Caleb Poulter's getting a lot of action. I think they might be the only 2 that people are really looking at early if I scroll down. Yeah. And I just, you know, if you want to do that, that's okay. Perhaps you went early on Frederick last week and you like going early on rookies for some reason, but it's so risky. Ask anyone who has Finn McRae at the moment, or if you yourself have Finn McRae and you went early on Finn McRae, just think about how that's worked out for you. He may not keep his spot anymore. He doesn't look AFL ready. His role is not suited for Supercoach at all. A lot of people got sucked in with McRae there. So just be careful with guys like Riley Collier-Dawkins, who probably goes straight out for Dusty, but you'll know that, of course, before you can lock that away. But just keep that in mind. Collingwood, that said, Collingwood rookies Poulter looked really nice, and it's not gone anywhere. He is small, though. He's quite small, so just be careful that they play North and then they flip him for a bigger body down the line. Just do be careful about that. So I guess the big elephant in the room is Martin Frederick. Everyone's bringing him in. I spoke about him on the Sunday show. Do I like him? Of course. His scoring is undeniable, and he's so cheap. 123, 88, 74. It's the team that he plays for. They've got a few major outs. The good thing about Port and rookies, and even primos for Port, is you can rely that Hinkley's going to pick his best side, his best playing side. He's not afraid, and he's not afraid to play kids who are playing well. Unlike one Ratton with Highmore here, who dropped one of the best performing kids through 2 rounds. Hinkley will play Frederick. You know, we saw it with Bergman. The worry was that Bergman wasn't going to have that job security. Turns out he did, and he's still in the team now. He's playing. He's not great at the moment, but you know, you've got him in your team, and you could rely on him playing. So is Frederick that bad a pick? I don't think so. And I've changed my mind multiple times on Frederick this week. I think with what I can do on the other side, and selection will be really important too, I think I probably end up will end up going Frederick, even though I'm concerned that Jones goes straight in. But I don't think you can ignore that first initial boost he's going to get of what will probably be 100k in the first week, or just under 100k. I always like to measure one trade. At a minimum, you want to get 100k. So, worst case scenario, Frederick comes in, he drops another 60, another 70. I mean, best case scenario, hits an 80. It makes you 100k and then gets dropped the next week. That would be a bit of a disaster, but not too worried because he's made you that 100k and he was in form, so you'd hope that he'd get picked again. Good thing about Port is if he plays all the way through, he's a round 12 bye, so you can flip him for someone who shares the round 12 bye with him. Perhaps Boak, if you like him, whoever you want to go for. You can flip a round 12 bye right onto him. Handy. It is frustrating for money if he gets dropped, because you don't want him in your team after the buys, or else he's just making cash that's useless cash. We spoke about Riley Collier-Dawkins. We spoke about the early kids. One thing that I'm not seeing a lot of is the... where even is he? Riley Thilthorpe. Not many people are going him. I don't mind him. He does share the round 14 bye, which has put me off him a little bit now, sadly. I would have loved to him. He's a ruck forward. How great would it be if during the round 14 bye you could flip him in and get you a score in the rucks? Super handy, but he's not. Well, it'd be top 18, wouldn't it, anyway? So there's no real benefit there. But like I said on the Sunday, he scored most of that 50 in one quarter. That 91, he's shown that he's a good footy player. I do really like him. He is on the expensive side. You would have to field him for that type of money. But he's not going anywhere. Job security is great. I do still like the pick, but do be careful. If you're going to spend 200k, just think about what you're going to do with the rest of that money. Because, as I'll show it in a minute, I could go, if I wanted to say hold Walker this week, I could do Frederick and someone a little bit cheaper, and still keep Walker for that extra week, and that would allow me to address Rowe, who may get dropped, or allow me to address another guy who is probably more of an issue than Walker, or Jath, or someone like that. Another popular bloke is Nick Murray. I wouldn't do it. Talia's back soon. Again, round 14 bye. On a whole, love the player. It's such an awkward week for him to come in. But he's been shown, Nix has shown that this guy can have a good game and get turf because he's just down the pecking order. I don't think he doesn't have the AFL tank. He started preseason late. He is a handy swingman, and I think he is part of the Crows' future, but you're probably not getting much with him as far as price goes, because he's just going to be in and out of the team. And once Talia comes back, he goes even further down the pecking order. So it's Talia, it's Duday, it's Brown, it's Kelly, it's Butts. There's so many guys behind him. And then what happens towards the end of the year, once guys like Borlays, Worrell, they start getting a tank up as well. The fans are going to want to see him, and so is Nix is going to want to see them at AFL level. So again, there'll be other guys. He's had his turn. There'll be other guys who'll get a turn. So, look, great idea, and great price, but sadly, it's not going to happen unless there's some sort of big injury run. He's not a guy you're going to be looking at. I don't think, sadly for him. Another one I saw during the week was a guy, Owies. I just wanted to say his name. Great, what a great footy name, Owies. He's not even in the break-even set. I couldn't see him unless I missed him. Another one weaker. It could be one for a forward, so he had a good game, and he's a forward, so he could be one to keep your eye on next week. We'll go into more detail if he plays this week. Round 13 bye, which is nice because there's not many on a round 13 bye, so you can sneak him in. All the teams are the same, but Supercoach relevant players. Round 13 is a really nice bye to have. So keep an eye on Owies. I wouldn't go early on him, unless you're a Carlton fan and you want him in. They're about... That's about the rookie coverage. Oh, there's Murphy. But if you're going to go... I don't mind the choice, but I think his scoring is just not strong enough to choose him over Frederick. As weird as that sounds, because Frederick is... Frederick has the job security. They're like the opposite. If you could have the job security of Nathan Murphy and the scoring potential of Frederick, then... I don't know why I'd even come up with an idea like that. He'd obviously be playing AFL every week. But that would be great if you could do those. But you can't. And I don't mind it. I think Collingwood are going to be playing kids all season. I think the timing is he must have came in for Howe, or he's sort of covering... Is he covering more, playing forward? Or it might just be doing his own thing. Either way, he'll be playing. So, if you're struggling for spots on field, but I think realistically you should be looking to fill up that defense with high scorers, because people have high scorers in defense. So 50... You're not trading Highmore for him. You're going to hold Highmore forever. I just don't think he's as good a pick as Frederick. But feel free to prove me wrong. And as far as the ins go, who are the primos that everyone's talking about? Let's see what I've got on my list here. Well, there's the obvious one that everyone's raving about at the moment. We'll throw it into the... We'll just flick this off because it's a bit easier to look at it this way. Yeah, Stephen May is the one that everyone's loving at the moment. He's dropped 100k. He's 400. Seems prime for the grabbing at the moment. Tomlinson just went down, so I would be very concerned about a role switch here. They reckon that they'll just send McDonald back, and then Fritsch plays forward, and then I guess they have some other forwards. Ben Brown was the other one, who will probably just stay in the team, and that will be that change. So then May and Lever can keep doing what they're doing. I'd want to see that in action before paying 400k for a defender over some of the other defender choices that you can take, such as a Ridley. Because for a lot of people, May will be their last defender that they need to fill. So just don't feel that too early. And then the same reason I spoke about Salem. If you're serious about this game, you've got to really think about what's happening in round 14. And if you bring in another Melbourne player, and you've got Oliver, you've got Gawn, you've got Grundy, you've got Laird, I got Marshall, so there's another one. Round 14 is starting to look very empty for you, and you're going to put in a very low score. And if you could have avoided May, taken someone else, and grabbed another 100 points then, the difference between top 200 and 5,000 is only a couple of 100 points, and that could be the round 14 buy. If you drop a 1900 in round 14 and everyone else drops 1500, you're probably going to finish pretty high. That said, I don't mind the May pick. What I am really worried about is, he's got scores like this. He drops 100. Like, what are we basing this on? He goes 80, he goes 78, he goes 90, then he goes 100, and he goes 145. I don't know. I think people are point chasing, bringing in May. I just think it's 400. I think it's better choices than May. But I don't hate it. Obviously, 400k is very easy, and that allows you to do 2 rookies if you're short on cash. But think about the May pick. Don't hate it, but I also don't love it. There's old mate Guthrie that I spoke about, who I initially wanted to do if I was to do Walker. I'd want to bring Guthrie in. I think he speaks for himself. He's, what is he, M2 at the moment? Maybe even M3. What would 588 be? Thereabouts. Non-stop, huge scores. Only 75 in 1 week. Dangerfield out for a long time. Shows no sign of slowing his scoring. I think it's really good. It's probably as low as you're going to get him. 588. Favourable buy as well. Round 12. The issue is if he doesn't move price, which he may not, 600 is about what he's going to be. Can you wait till round 12? Can you do something else for 4 weeks? And can you just get him in round 13? Even if he's a little more. Or what if he goes down? So it's something to think about, and it's a big investment, and it could cost you another premium, which is what I'm thinking about now too for my trade. What if that costs me another premium next week? So would I rather save a little bit of cash or not trade out a big mate, like someone like Walker perhaps? Maybe not trade out Walker this week, address some of the low scoring rookies that I've got a row. Chapman obviously is the other trade. And not do Guthrie and get him in round 13, especially I could do the swap over, where I could do Walker a week early from his round 14 bye, do Guthrie and miss nothing because Walker played 12 and Guthrie played 13 and then Guthrie plays 14. So it's a good little crossover that I could think about doing. And then there's just the guy I'm probably going to go this week, actually, Shai Bolton. I don't think there's enough to say about this guy. He's going to go through the roof. He's going up like Doge. He is on his way to the moon. I love these scores out of him. Early, I'm not sure what happened here, and he must have got injured here. Or they played. Richmond were just junk in that game. I think he played all game, actually, now that I think about it. That's awful. He must have gone off, surely, with 29. I'd need to look into that. That's a worry. But nonetheless, look at these scores in the last 4 weeks. These are with Dusty. These are without Dusty. Playing for a contract. And if Richmond don't sign him, which they absolutely should, he's planning to play somewhere else. So even harder. And he's scored like this last year. He was a ripper rookie, I think, the year before, was he? Let's have a look. I had him in my team in... he must have been 2018. It's been 2019. He must have been a rookie. Yeah, you grabbed him You grabbed him around here, and he made a heap of cash. Oh, yeah, that's right. You grabbed him nice and early for 146. Good rookie, and then he got injured, and a lot of people traded him out at 280. But if you held him, he rewarded you with nearly an on-field option. There's just a little bit of a history lesson there. I don't know why I did that, but I really like Shai Bolton. He covers that forward issue that everyone's having at the moment, where you're having to think about what are you doing with Rowe. Warner is still in your team. You got Waterman just sitting there, and he'll sit there forever. You may not have Walker. You may have someone like a McRae there. So what are you doing? Yet Shai Bolton covers that, and only 479. You obviously play him to be a top 6 forward, and I think he will be. Well, there's no reason I think he won't be with these sort of numbers. I said that about Walker last week, didn't I? But with these sort of numbers, you've got to be pretty happy with that. And spoiler, that's probably what I'm going to do this week. Chapman, Rowe, Bolton, and Frederick, and I'll be on the train with everyone else. Other big names to go for. You could address your midfield. If you didn't do what I did last week and grab Walsh, get him. What are you doing? You need him. Bolton and May, Guthrie, those guys are just fun, good guys to have, handy guys to get in. I think Walsh is a must-have. As crazy as that sounds, you have to have Walsh. One score under 100. What is it? 2 scores under 110 for the whole season. And in fact, his lowest, if you take out these 2 games, is 122. The kid's a star. Go and watch a Carlton game. He's one of the best players in the AFL already. What a pick. What a pick-up by Carlton. I mean, imagine that falling in your laps. I mean, I suppose they had to tank for 10 years to get him, or nearly 20. But regardless, what a find Sam Walsh is. And keep an eye on him for the next 15 years. This will probably be the last time, outside of injury, I think as soon as you get him into your team, you will never drop him. And you will continually select him for as long as you play Supercoach. The guy's so relevant. Such a good scorer. Plays for a team that just isn't going to take any points. Cripps is happy to let him go do his thing. Get this man in your team ASAP. I went down here to check the buy, didn't I? Round 13 buy. Really friendly buy. If you don't have Sam Walsh this week, you find 600k. You have to. You have to. Otherwise, do it on his buy. Who else are we talking about here? Brayshaw is a pretty hot property at the moment. He's still 500. 120 again against West Coast. He does seem to be scoring. I'd love to get him. 500k mid. He's on his way up. He'll be 550. But he's a round 14 buy player. So I'm trying to avoid him. In case you don't... The theme of this video is I'm trying to avoid players who have a buy on round 14. I really want to put in a nice score on round 14. And I'll do it by picking guys who don't have a buy that round. It's a big part of how you can boost your score. You can really rock it up in those buys by having a nice balance in 3 rounds. And flipping guys, getting Brayshaw in round 15. And carrying someone perhaps a little bit longer to get a score out of them in round 14. Because you're really just playing them against each other. But at this point, I'm just... These numbers are hard to... I didn't think he'd go this sort of numbers. 117, 112, 120. I was hoping he'd go maybe hundreds while I was not picking him up. But if he starts scoring like this, it may be something that we just have to wear. And we may just have to take him next week and just eat his round 14 score. Because realistically, if you're playing someone who's dropping an 80 or 90, he's taking 30 points off you every week. So you may have to address that sooner rather than later. And the other one's Zorko. I'm off. I really think Zorko was a great pick if you picked him last week, and even if you get him this week, I think it's a good pick. It's just the type of guy I'm not the hugest fan. He's a forward mid though. I mean, I'll say that, but he's putting out numbers very similar to Shai Bolton, so it's not terrible. Friendly buy in round 13. He basically is Shai Bolton, isn't he? Feel free to pick him up. He's good. I really like the Zane Zorko pick, but it's historically, he scares me a lot. You know, he's had years in the past where he just goes absolutely mental one week and does absolutely nothing. And keep in mind, if you're playing leagues, so if you were playing leagues last year, this is the week before the league to get you in. And then in your first final, he drops a 68 on you. And if you somehow made it through the grand final, we gave you 100 the week after, but he probably cost you a grand final spot here. He's in and out of the team. The year before, what did he do? He played home quite well, but again, 61. He just throws these random scores out. I don't know what they're to do with, but he just does. Every now and then he takes a game off while getting paid. Here's a great example where he put some hundreds out. Probably everyone got on him after doing a 97, 129, looked amazing. You probably picked him up for your finals run and he gave you a 60, an 80 and a 69. Nice. And that's about all the primos people are looking at. If you've got any other primos that you want to have a think about, like who are you thinking of bringing in this week? Throw them in the comments. We'll have a look and we can have a chat about them in the comments. Happy to. I love those left field picks. I love those picks that people aren't really thinking about because they can get you the edge. If you go through the list, Monday, are people bringing in Monday? Are you going to do it? I personally am not going to, but he could win you. He could win you a bunch of leagues. He could win you a bunch of matches. People are going to back Lions without Neil. I'm not sure any of these really count. Are you going to bring Mills into your defense? Are you going to go with Salem? Are you not worried about round 14? Are you happy with this guy's scoring? There's a lot of choices. Are you going to go Nick Nat because you can't afford Grundy or Gorn because you didn't go one of the two? Interesting thoughts to go through. And then I guess it's just a matter of... we've already spoken about it, haven't we? What's everyone What's everyone trading out? Realistically, it's Chapman. It has to be, because he's out for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever it was. Poor lad. Could even be the season. I can't remember now. But yeah, poor lad's out. Gordon, if you still got him, you probably have to go him. And then keep an eye on Rowe, Walker. I'm probably going to go Rowe in the end. After making all this song and dance about Walker. I think I can... He's made enough money where I think I can just carry him in for another week. And I'm just concerned that Rowe gets dropped. If he doesn't, it'll be something to think about. But I just... With the trades that I'll do, which is probably, like I said, Frederick to... Or Chapman to Frederick, sorry. And then Rowe to Shai Bolton, play him here. Then I can put... Bolton sits in this line. Then I can, use Waterman as a loop. I can then play off... I don't have to have McCreary on field, who is looking nice, but I could even do something like play Warner against McCreary. They're not... Well, of course, they're playing an hour, so I'd need to keep an eye on that. But, it's something I can do. It's something you can definitely think about. Something in the mids would be handy. Scotty, McNeil, yeah. You'd love to have Highmore back. And Mansell, I'm just going to sit on the bench. I probably won't play him against anyone. And by getting Frederick in, you get that scoring mid, and you don't have to stress about this whole situation. If you're similar to me, you've got Highmore, you've got another low-scoring rookie, you're banking on Chapman scores. You probably now have accepted that Butts is your guy. Maybe you've got Laird here as well, but you're probably doing a lot of this. When realistically, you get Frederick in. Oh, and of course, before we drop, the one everyone's talking about is Ridley. A lot of people have Ridley, and the plan was to get Ridley in. We'll do a quick look at Ridley. Is that... Oh, that's why. I mean, he just didn't show up, did he? 87. Just wasn't putting out those numbers that he is used to putting up. Essendon looked really bad against Carlton. First came back from concussion. It's a real concern. Some people don't. Some people take longer. That 12 days is mandatory for the AFL, but some people take longer than 12 days to recover. And he certainly didn't look himself. Keep an eye on Ridley, though. But obviously what that means is he'll keep dropping. But I want to get him sooner rather than later. But the way he's putting out scores and the way his break-even is now, I think I'm safe enough to wait for him till his bye. I think I can. Or even play him against someone else. Because keep in mind, when you trade a guy, if you don't own Ridley, bit of a side note here, but if you don't own Ridley now, these scores here don't matter to you. 125, 136, 146. You don't get him when you bring him into your team. They don't add to your total score. You only get what he does going forward. So could you play it? You can play May against Ridley for the rest of the year, and May might be the better defender for the rest of the year. You didn't get to have these. Other people did. So take that in mind too. He's not a lock now that he's come back from... It was a pretty bad concussion, and he hasn't looked good yet. But I expect him to score against GWS. Keep an eye on Ridley, because the moment he starts putting in those big scores, get him in. It's not like Neil, who was carrying an injury. This is a concussion. The minute he looks like the old Jordan Ridley, you need to move mountains to get him in, because he was the best player in Supercoach up until 2 weeks ago. So that's about it. We can have a quick look at captains. Mindful the video is pretty lengthy, but that's the point of this video. Really choose some stuff out and have a look. If you want to skip through, then skip through. But really chew out what we're going to do. Captain wise, I don't think there's much to it. Goldstein absolutely destroyed Gawn, so just be careful if you're going to loop. Probably wait and loop. Jeez, look at that time on that. You probably loop Grundy and feel pretty good about captaining Gawn. I think that's a one-off. Keep an eye on because games nowadays, I know, like, I'm not one for shortening games. Let me make this really clear. But games are going really long. So you will not know what Grundy's final score is when Melbourne start. So if you plan to loop these two together, you have to make sure that you're in front of your screen. And this Saturday's just normal day. Sunday's a Mother's Day, so you may be out on Sunday if you're planning to do some sort of shenanigans on the Sunday. Well, especially if you even have a loop. Don't get caught. I mean, who would I have? McNeil or Scott or something. Don't get caught with McNeil. You say, all right, I'm going to loop Saturday night. You say, all right, I'm going to loop Grundy, say he's on 120 at three-quarter time, 100 at three-quarter time. I'm going to take that score. I'm not going to go Gorn. I'm going to put McNeil on, and then he gets named the sub, and you're out for lunch. Wine and dining your mother for Mother's Day. And you've got a sub on field as your captain, and he comes on, and he scores an 8, and you get 16 from your captaincy. Just think about that. So be real careful there. You have to do that on the Saturday night. You have to choose what you're doing, and do you have a suitable loop? Because, again, teams aren't going to get named. So Brockman might get put in the team, McNeil might get put in the team, and you may not have a suitable loop. The other alternative is, of course, you vice Grundy into Goldstein, and then you just flick the C on Sam Walsh because he's absolutely flying. He's playing the Dogs, though, so be careful there. Thinking of any other options you could do here. Not really. No one's putting out those big scores since Ridley went away and Dunkley went away. Feel free to throw in the comments any other ideas you may have for captains and any other loop choices. And the answer is not keep Chapman for an extra week so you can loop in Grundy. Unless Grundy drops a 200 or something, and you have other trades that you want to do, and on Friday Mansell scored a ton, maybe that would be the only scenario where I'd keep Chapman. That would be genuinely the only time I'd do it. Mansell tons. Grundy's on his way to 200. I've got a V on him, and then I hear that Brockman's going to get picked and McNeil's going to get picked. I'll then captain Chapman, take this ton from Mansell, not trade in Frederick, not trade in. Geez, that'd be horrendous, wouldn't it? Because then you wouldn't be able to trade in your other guy here, Bolton, and take 200 out of Grundy. A bit of a weird scenario that would be, but it is what it is. Yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching. If you stayed all the way to the end, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. I love the support, the likes, the new subscribers coming in. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching my videos, and I'll chat to you guys on Sunday. I probably will drop a tips video on Friday again. We won't speak about how it went last week, though. So good luck, and happy super coaching.